Hi, I'm Avi,
And I'm Michael.
and this is another episode of The Pricing Guys, and we are excited to have a special guest today, Tareq Hadhad, who's the CEO and founder of Peace by Chocolate. Thank you for being with us today. So, Tareq, we're going to jump right into it because we want to learn all about your great company. Michael, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so Tareq, very much a purpose-driven organization. I would love for you to kind of tell our audience a little bit about the company, about your journey. But what I'm really interested in, as you kind of go through that, running a business and having a purpose, sometimes, profit and purpose, they pull in different directions. So how do you think about prioritizing one or over the other, and how do they live, at the same time, making sure that one, you're profitable and you can continue going, but you're still achieving that purpose?
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much to both of you, and hello to everyone who's listening. I'm quite honored to be on this podcast because I've been on so many podcasts, and this usually comes as the last question. So I really appreciate that. For this time, this is like what we are beginning with. So we are setting the right tone. So our company is called Peace by Chocolate, and from the name of our brand, you can really tell that we are not in this business that starts to sell a product, but we sell a value, and we try to take pride into what our company is trying to accomplish, not only for ourselves, but for so many people across our community, our province, our country, and for many people around the world as well. And it comes from a place of storytelling. It comes from a place of purpose. It comes from a place of sharing what we got with those that they were less fortunate to have the luck or the privilege of being in a society where they live in peace, where they have the opportunity and access to wealth and building businesses. So it's quite an incredible milestone that we have had in our family's history, that we were able to rebuild our business. So Peace by Chocolate is the brand right now here in Canada that is around 10 years old. However, we come from a background that is over 30 years old in Syria and Damascus, it's the most ancient continuous inhabited city in the world. So we come from a place of culture, we come from a place of history, civilization, and a lot of traditions that has built our belief that if you are lucky enough to be in entrepreneurship, to be in business, to be sharing your knowledge and building a product that people are going to enjoy, then you as well might do something good for the community, might give back, might contribute to the people who are the reason why you are in business. And it also comes from a place of belief in people, because I remember as we were growing our business over the years, my father came to me and then he said, we were overseeing our production schedule during the holidays in one of those busy seasons in 2017 when we were building our factory. And then he said, son, look, our staff are people, we are people, our customers are people, and we need to make sure that we are serving the cause of the people first before we go any further. And that's why our business at the time was transitioned into the value of peace, which stands for passion, enthusiasm, advocacy, contribution, and excellence. And these are truly the things that matter the most, in our journey. And it connects the dots when you're talking about building a business from not a place of profit, but a place of giving back and contributing to the community. And at the same time, we try to prove the case that these two words are not contradicting one another. Like when you talk about profit and when you talk about purpose, these are not colliding and they're not fighting. It's actually very much integral. To make profit, you have to take care of your people. You have to make sure that you're taking care of your community, and you have to have a purpose. So at the same time as we are launching our business, we thought that we need to think about our community and our deep roots, and how do we make sure that our business is not only surviving for 1 year, it is sustainable for the next generations to come.
Has there been a time throughout the history of the business where your purpose and maintaining true to your purpose has come at a financial cost? and you've had to endure some financial impact. And how did you handle that? How did you kind of navigate those tough decisions?
Um, Certainly, there has been a lot of times where we had to face these choices, but as a business that we take pride, we're not in this to make and build wealth. We are to achieve a mission, and we are very much a community-oriented organization. So at the end of the day, for us, our KPIs are quite different than what you will really find with other businesses and organizations because success and failure are quite relative, when it comes to Peace by Chocolate. Like, when you go to other organizations and talk to them about, their achieving their targets, everyone will say, oh, this year we have grown this much month over month. This is what we delivered net profit for the stakeholders and all the shareholders and the board. And this is what we're going to report on our income statement and balance sheets. But all of those income statements and balance sheets, they are lazy. They don't tell you the stories of how hard someone worked in a factory to deliver a good product for the people out there. So this is kind of the narrative that we are trying to change here. At the end of the day, when we were trying to do a lot of the campaigns in the past, certainly that came out of our net margins. Like a lot of the fundraising that we do for so many charities across Canada and across the world, it doesn't get paid from the customers' pockets. It comes out from our net margins and net profit. So at the end of the day, the doing good to the community is absolutely the best investment you can have as an entrepreneur. And it's going to have a huge ROI down the road that you probably have not seen as long as you stay true and you stay consistent. One of the best advice that I've gotten over the years is that it's not about intensity, it's about consistency. And when you do good to your community and when you fight for the good causes that matter the most to the people around you, everything good is going to come back to you afterwards. And that's really the mindset that we have been following. So the biggest example that actually I keep thinking about is when we started our company here in Canada, selling only a few $100s at local farmers markets. And then I came back home one day, and then my family were watching the news, and we were translating it to them. And we saw how Canadians in Alberta and Fort McMurray were losing everything due to the wildfires. And then my mother said, whatever money we are generating in this business doesn't belong to us. It belongs to Canadians who helped us restart this business. And then my family said, we have a roof above our head. We have enough food in the fridge. Whatever money the business is making, it belongs to people who are in much need for it right now. And then we launched this campaign with the relief efforts in Western Canada to donate all the proceeds from our business to all of these efforts and organizations trying to help out and do our part, because we were and we still are in this together. So that is just like one of the biggest examples that I mentioned, because that is 100% net profit being donated and gone. We're not talking about, the causes that many big companies commit to certain charities. We're talking about a business that is just beginning, that is very much a startup back in 2016, that we did not have much roots, but we felt that it was one of the biggest and the best investments we could do is if we can really do good and translate the theory that if you do kindness, it's going to come back to you. If you offer kindness, you're going to receive kindness. If you offer anxiety and you say selfish, it's also going to be reflected in you. So now is the perfect time actually to think about business in different terms. And my only way of looking at business is we need to take off the selfishness glasses and put on the selflessness glasses and think to ourselves, is this really the world that we want to live in? Is this the world we want to leave for our children? And kind of the role that entrepreneurship and the private sector has in all of this equation. And what can we do? Because when I go around the community, many people really forget about the role of entrepreneurs in making change in the community and how much power and platforms of leadership they have that they can contribute to the people. So at the end of the day, I certainly would have agreed with the sentiment that it comes at a cost, but this cost is not an expense, it's an investment in the future of your business. And
That's an interesting way of looking at it. And, I think about a lot of big companies talk about, having causes and donating them. I'm not sure how many of them would be willing to put up 100% of their net margin, to help people. So I think that really speaks to, putting the purpose first as opposed to the dollars.
The other thing I really like that you're saying, Tarek, and I think this is universal to other businesses, is that intensity versus consistency, that we find a lot of times business fail because they aren't consistent in terms of the strategy that they're trying to execute or the processes with which they're executing it. And veering off that course often leads to a lot of gaps in performance.
absolutely. And so yeah, and just want to add one important point here, which is when you come from this place, actually what happens at the end is you are building trust. And this trust actually goes a long way when you are starting your business from a healthy foundation. So no matter what gets thrown at you in the future, you already built something very strong around you that nothing else is going to affect it.
So I know you've talked about the startup a lot, and that word's come out of your mouth a lot, but you guys have scaled, right? You're much bigger than you were a long time ago. We saw the movie. I'm a huge fan. We've all tasted the product in the office, and it's a very high quality premium product that you guys are bringing to the market. That when you taste it versus the competition, I'm sure there's a lot more cost elements to that product. Now, as you're thinking about scaling it, and you're getting bigger, you're going into more expensive customers, there are more costs in terms of getting it to market. How do you ensure that you're maintaining that premium feel and what that brand experience is supposed to be as it's getting bigger out there?
Well, we certainly take pride in Peace by Chocolate as a very premium product, but at the same time, we believe that peace is an accessible value. Everyone should have peace, regardless of how much they have in their bank account, or how much they can afford to spend on a chocolate bar or a product that they can indulge with their families. So I take premium from a different perspective than so many, in a way that it is not really about the price as much as it is about the experience, the values, the storytelling, the doing good to the people. And that's why, I think we were able to scale in the business much faster than what we have anticipated. To be honest, when we started on this journey 10 years ago or 9 years ago, we did not see ourselves even owning a factory in 20, 30 years, given that, there's a very much huge competition in the market here in Canada and in the US. And we felt certainly that's going to take us a huge learning curve, and it's going to take us a long time to be in a place where we are able to scale up our business. So that certainly has been proven wrong during the past few years. And it came as well from the celebration of our values, but at the same time, our attention to detail when it comes to packaging and being unique and remarkable. So when we go to the market and try to do anything, we try to provide value to our customers that they do not find anywhere else. And now, more than any time before, the customers and the consumers, whether you are selling to B2B or B2C, everyone is looking for something different and unique. And actually, just 2 days ago, I came back from Paris and I met a lot of manufacturers and a lot of companies out there. And the people that they were resonating a lot with consumers were those that they were doing something entirely different than the rest. And that's why, you find in our market, there is this lack of innovation and creativity. And we try ourselves whenever we are launching anything new to ask everyone around the table on our team how much innovation, how much creativity really went into creating this product or this campaign. What are we contributing to? Who is benefiting at the end of the day, from spreading this message or creating this seasonal campaign or evergreen campaign? So we scale at the same time, by training our people on our values and asking them the questions about why and how. And we start with, with asking them about why did you want to join this organization? Why did you want to be a part of our values, about a part of our future, our mission, our vision? And at the same time, how are you gonna accomplish what you said you're gonna accomplish during this initial phase? And then how are you gonna continue delivering the best values that you can on our team to make sure that the people who are enjoying this product really feel the authenticity? And we have had even way bigger opportunities in the past as well to be at an entirely different level, but that came at a time when we felt it was not right for our people. It was not right to let people go or lay off our staff just to have more and faster automation on our facilities, for example, on our floor. It was the wrong time as well because people were going through a much more crisis with affordability and inflation, especially after the pandemic. So we changed a lot of our business strategies to make sure that we are thinking strategically as well with our people. So we take pride that our biggest asset in Peace with Chocolate is certainly our people and the team that they have joined our company, and it comes as well from the roots of how we started Peace with Chocolate. And one of the entrepreneurs around us and the mentors here in Anaganesh came to me when we were starting this company. And then he said, Tarek, don't be afraid to hire people who are smarter than you and who have, more depth in values in the community than anyone else. And these have certainly been, kind of the key metrics when we're talking about our stuff. So yeah, it certainly all goes down to the roots of the company and each product and campaign that we are launching. And that's where we define ourselves as a premium brand more than the price tag that you see on our product, for sure.
100%. And you're telling that story, and I see how you tell it internally to your employees and make sure they all understand that. How do you turn around and message that to your customers, your retail customers and the end customers? How do you get that storytelling across to them?
Absolutely. So we kind of try to build connection with our customers in a way that feels quite genuine. We do not do these cold calls trying to really attract people that they have not been aware of our company. We try to do the opposite. We try to follow the approach of storytelling, and that's what actually you mentioned that you watched our movie, right? And that's how you got to know more about me throughout one of these projects. And that's actually what the target is with our customers is we want to reach them wherever they are. They are on social media, we will do a campaign there. We'll stay true to our values and to our messaging. They are in movie theaters. We released a movie 3 years ago that has been watched by over 10 to 15 million people around the planet. It was on airlines. They are readers. We released our book. We wanted to tell them more about what Pizza by Chocolate is all about. How is the company? How is it formed? What is it gonna do in the future? So making sure that your customer is a part of your journey and thinking about them as someone who is living and breathing, your values and your mission as an entrepreneur. They are not at the end of the cycle. They are literally living through every phase of it, from the beginning to the end. And that's why actually we feel that we have this different model than a lot of company, because we certainly take care of a lot of the steps in the early stages of the creation of every campaign and every product in a way that feels that our customers are a part of it, and we listen more to our customers than a lot of the folks in our industry, because we really want to make sure that they are happy with what they are receiving. And what people as well come to us for is not only for the product itself, it's certainly the messaging and the labels. And that's what you'll find Peace by Chocolate is unique for. is, we are sharing these celebrations with everyone. And I will take you just a little bit for a minute here into the history of all of this analogy. Is when we started this business, my father was believing and still believes in the value of what we are making is by making people happier. And this is truly the sole purpose of why we are making what we are making, is we want to make sure that we see the world around us a happier one than what we found it. So when we started from this vision, we certainly reflected on a lot of the sayings on our labels. And we started with our Peace Bar collection. We translated peace in 24 different languages, and we inserted a tutorial at the bottom left of each bar to teach people how do you say peace with everyone. So this is really one of our signature collections we have released. And then around Valentine's Day, we traveled across Canada and we interviewed couples who stayed together over 25 years. And we asked them about their secret for love. And we took their advice, we printed it, and we inserted it into our products. And we called this campaign Unsolicited Love Advice. So everyone who bought a chocolate bar, for their love during Valentine's Day since 2019 from Peace by Chocolate, they will find a love advice, a proven, tested advice from couples who stayed together over 25 years and more, to tell them how do they translate their love into action. The same thing we did for Easter and more for the holidays. So we are turning into this seasonal business into something that people can live by every single day, and they can refer to when they are talking about kindness and compassion into today's world.
Yeah, it's great to see, just very different tactics that you guys are taking than like, a traditional competitor would be. I'm curious to know. So we did an episode a couple weeks back or a couple months back on Gen Z. And what was really interesting to us as we kind of reflected on how Gen Z shops and how they think about it and kind of doing research to have that discussion, we came to the realization that really Gen Z, that there's much more emphasis put on value. There's much more emphasis put on mission when they buy, and they're less concerned about price. They're willing to go outside of a price bracket to actually have that experience, have that value. Have you noticed that in your customers? Is that a big piece of kind of who's driving some of your success?
1,000%. I totally agree with this narrative, and our brand is for everyone. So we really don't have like a winning segment in terms of the generations. But when we talk to Gen Z, the messaging can be slightly directed towards the why of the business more than anything else, because we certainly know that Gen Z, what they are quite interested in, is holding the brands accountable. They want to make sure that they see accountability when they are purchasing a product. And the way that Gen Z actually goes around and try to decide what brand they are supporting is that they are using their wallets as a voting mechanism, right? Like when we talk about elections, you go to vote for your preferred candidate. Gen Z is doing that every single day, and they're voting for their preferred candidate with their wallet, with their money, with their dollars, and that's actually what sets them apart from other generations as well. And to be honest, it's quite an interesting phenomenon that we are living in right now, especially with access to information, with our connectivity from every corner of the world. I was in Tokyo this summer, and I was speaking as well to many people in Gen Z. They are almost identical to the way of thinking about the future and the present, as someone who's right here on the waterfront in Halifax, Nova Scotia, or in Vancouver, or anywhere else around the world. So I think what matters the most when we are talking to Gen Z as well is to provide this proof of purpose. You need to make sure that you have the records when you're talking to Gen Z about what your company is doing to benefit the community, to benefit the people around you. And at the end of the day, as well, I felt from all of my times and interviews and speeches as a public speaker, when I go to conferences and I get questions at the end of my presentation, most of the time when I hear questions from Gen Z, it's less about perfection, but more about authenticity. And they really try to bring this challenge to entrepreneurs to prove that they are really authentic and that they are providing kind of value for what they are doing. For us at Peace by Chocolate, it's quite an easy challenge for us because our company started by our refugee family that came to Canada after losing everything to the war in Syria. So once you mention this background to Gen Z, they understand the true meaning and the true fight that we are in towards building a more peaceful world. And they connect to our belief that, by supporting our cause and supporting our brand, they're doing a lot more healing to not the business community only, but certainly to the world around them. So it's a lot more interesting what we are noticing these days, especially, and it's more progressive and it's progressing every single day. So we are adapting with our campaigns, with our messaging as well on the go.
Yeah, it's interesting because that brought up the question for us is that you know if we go back 20, 30 years ago, we didn't see a lot of mission-based businesses and businesses that were driven by such a strong kind of mission. Um, we've definitely seen a rise in that, and we know that that is really resonating with Gen Z, as you kind of mentioned. Like, what's your sense on what does the future have in store, and what impact is this going to have? Not only maybe seeing the trend continue, but what does this mean for business as a whole? What does it mean for, traditional corporations? How do you think in the next 20, 30 years, are they going to have to adapt and start doing something? What are your tea leaves here? What do you see happening?
I believe this is really one of the biggest opportunities for entrepreneurs as well to let it to take it all in and try to absorb as much as possible towards the future. But predicting what's going to happen 20, 30 years from now is a lot more difficult than what it was like 20 years ago, right? Because 20, 30 years ago, you really kind of were predicting it based on the present, but we can't predict the future right now based on our present because things are evolving at a much rapid rate, right, than what it was a few decades ago. So what I truly believe in is quite simple. Some businesses, they try to follow trends, and right now, when businesses are jumping on trends, or when they try really to make sure that they are just uh, following some temporary trends in their industries, they are forgetting that larger picture about the future. And that's why you see a much faster rise in so many brands, but also a much faster decline for their audience and for the attention span that they get with their customers and with the people that they are trying to attract. So for me, we're trying to follow a different model with our company, and we are trying to do it in a transformative way, in a way that is quite different than everyone else. And because we certainly feel that Peace by Chocolate is a company that can fit any generation, any time, any period. It doesn't have to be in 2025. It can be still valid by 2050, by 2100. So our business is a statement. Our business name by itself is a statement. Our values are a statement that can work regardless of who is receiving it and when they are receiving it. And at the end of the day, purpose in the history that my father used to tell us, that purpose at their time was a part of marketing, right? When someone was talking about purpose 10 or 15 years ago or 30 years ago, it's basically marketing. But now it's not really marketing, it's the market. The market is about really thinking about the purpose, is thinking about how are you going to make sure that your business is not harming our planet? How do you make sure that your business is paying living wages to your employees? How do you make sure that the campaigns and what you stand for truly align with everyone in the community and is not causing any harm to anyone in that community? Because causing a harm to one person is causing a harm to all. So it's quite an interesting challenge for brands to certainly keep true to what they stand for the next 20, 30 years. But I see this certainly in our interest, in our direction, because Peace by Chocolate was built, on this lasting impact kind of foundation, and we try as well to implement this with everything we are doing. And our DNA in Peace by Chocolate certainly stands for supporting the long term vision more than certainly following short term trends.
Excellent. So, closing out, yourself, your family, Peace by Chocolate, you guys have such a unique story. So, what can we expect in the next chapter? What do we have to look forward to, or what are you looking forward to?
We're trying not to spill out any secrets here, but we have a lot. We have a lot that we are working on. You might expect to see some big announcements starting very soon from Peace with Chocolate. So I really hope you can you will stay tuned and you can follow along. But at the end of the day, what we started 10 years ago, we want to continue that into the future. We want to expand our footprint, not only in Canada but across the world. Our brand right now is highly focused on exporting to many markets outside of Canada, including Europe, Japan, the US, and many others. So we want to see our products on as many shelves globally as possible, especially since we gained international attention after the release of our movie and after the thousands of media interviews that we were able to do in so many parts in the world. So basically, we are trying to match our marketing efforts with our supply and with our supply chain. So it's quite interesting, to see how that unfolds in the future. But at the same time, we know we'll continue telling our story to as many audiences globally as possible. And what I love the most about what we do as well is the collaborations that we do with so many organizations. So right now we have around 11 partnerships with so many incredible organizations and NGOs across Canada and across the world. So many of them are working with peace building projects like the Canadian Red Cross, Children Peace and Security Institute, Indigenous communities in Canada, Refugee Hub, supporting immigrant students as well, and making sure that we are there for the people that they are living through a journey similar to ours, but also making sure we are paying it forward to as many young people in particular as possible, because they are certainly the future. There's a lot going on, for Peace with Chocolate, but at the same time, a lot going on to our Peace on Earth Society. So that Peace on Earth Society is certainly the social umbrella that I can see the values for the company moving forward, and how can we build more of those partnerships, with organizations. So whoever is listening to this, if you are fighting for a cause that is delivering good to humanity, please reach out to us. We would certainly love to be a part of your mission. And as we're expanding our 11 pillars in that society as well, we'd certainly love to hear more about what is more relevant. So the biggest risk for any business is to go outdated and to speak in the language that has certainly passed. So what we're trying to do is to keep being relevant, keep telling the world that peace is our product, and certainly try to spread this message with as much deliciousness as possible, and by believing as well that we are doing and delivering happiness to so many folks across the globe. So we are as well growing with our retail footprint in Peace by Chocolate right now. We own chocolate boutiques in Nova Scotia. We're trying to expand our network right here, but also grow our retail network in the eastern part of the country, then central, then western Canada, while also trying to open up our e-commerce platform to many people around the world. Right now, peacebychocolate.ca is an e-commerce platform that is global. We have consumers and customers literally in every country around the world that we have delivered to since we started the business. We celebrate our products with so many folks, with so many occasions. Whatever you are celebrating, you will find something at Peace by Chocolate. That's something that's going to fit the values that you're trying to spread. So at the end of the day, we try to also think about this in the analogy that no one can go back and start a new beginning, but everyone can start today and make a new ending. So what we are fighting for, and we are very ambitious about, is certainly create that beautiful ending for our business, and create that beautiful ending as well for our legacy.
Tareq, thank you so much for being here with us today. Thanks for everything that you're doing in the community and all the happiness you're spreading out there. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tareq.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Pete. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.